Still processing a little bit. Just got done with the guys. Awesome comeback. I mean, you bring them up. They're at the beginning of the fourth quarter. I think we were down 11 at that point, and it's, you've played very spotty all day, and you got to go summon it. I mean, it's not only down 11, but I think they have the ball down pretty low there too, and so obviously that was a key point for us. Kind of with all that we've been through here the last few weeks, had to persevere through a lot, had to overcome a lot, and regardless of what happened, good or bad, in those first three quarters, like this time, like you're on the road, there's nowhere to hide. Like you got to go find a way to win it, and we did it even despite some mistakes there in the fourth quarter, and so I'm very appreciative of their fight. Guys mentally staying in it, made some tremendous game-changing plays. It was with the way that the game unfolded, it became such a high possession game. It was a lot different than some of these ones we've played in. They played fast offensively. We had a couple of big plays offensively. There were some quick turnovers or 3 and outs, and so it was one of those games that you knew was going to be, you could tell pretty early it was probably going to be pretty high possession, and so there was, with those, typically you get kind of your wild twists and turns, and obviously this delivered on plenty of that, and the guys battled. We still went through some of our lulls, obviously on both sides of the ball. We were typically able to cover the other side up, which has become I think a strength of this team right now. Kind of seems like when one side's not going on, the other finds a way to kind of keep it together and make plays and keep us in these things. Obviously for us, striving here towards the end of being able to play more complementary ball where we can get some of those surges. We've had a few, but I think that's the number one thing going forward for us is we've got to play more complementary ball where we can get on those runs and have a bunch of points in a row and hold people several stops in a row, and because if you don't, and kind of like we're playing right now, you're going to be in these tight games, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of back and forth, and you're going to be in these games, and they're going to swing on a couple of plays like the last 3 weeks have, and that's not a horrible position to be in. We've been in position to win all of them, but obviously we want to play better, and so we obviously got to do that. But I'm really damn proud of the group. I'm really proud of the group. They could have folded there in the fourth quarter. The last 2 weeks, things haven't went our way. Some within our control, some not within our control. And to step up here on the road against a team that had some coming off a bye week and had some obvious momentum at times during the game, and go find a way to get this sucker done was huge. So yeah, excited to get back, to get to work. There's a lot that to build on. There's a lot that needs to improve, and if we keep practicing like we have here the last couple of weeks, then we'll continue to get better. We will, and I want to give a lot of credit to Cal. I thought they had a great plan. They did a good job taking advantage of the bye week. They brought out a few new things that we had to adjust to, and a few things that gave us trouble on both sides of the ball. And so, give them credit. They made some really nice plays. That they did, and that's Justin's done a really good job. I mean, that team, we knew coming in, they had our ultimate respect, because really the Washington game for them was kind of fluky. There was some separation early in that game, and then they battled the rest of the way, and then they've had a chance to win every single other game. Scored a bunch of points here against Oregon State, who we know in our league has done a really good job defensively. They've had some bright moments offensively. They had a chance to beat Utah last week. Obviously, probably should have beat Auburn here. I mean, they're a good football team. Justin's done a good job. We knew it would be a challenge coming in, and if we didn't play clean, we knew it would be a dogfight, and it certainly was. But obviously, happy to come out with the win, and excited to go back to work with this team and get better. And We sit here right now, I think 5-1 and firmly in second place in the best, probably the best, most deep conference in college football, and some fun opportunities ahead that we're very much looking forward to.
What was that conversation like at halftime or before halftime or whatever halftime was?
That was unique. Yeah.
What happened there? Like
this whole week was weird. So it was fitting. I guess we had the beginning of the game too, right? You forgot about that. Yeah. Welcome to California. No, it was. I was pretty certain because when Lake caught the ball, I took off sprinting. Which my sprint's not very good right now, but I took off lightly jogging, which felt like sprinting, toward the official because I was trying to get in position to call a timeout. You knew it was a first down. And when I saw him go down, I immediately looked up as I'm running down, and there was time on the clock. It was going from 2 to 1 when I looked up, and I knew I looked up just slightly after he was down. So I knew there was time. And so they came to me and they said, they already looked at it and they said, we're going to halftime. And I said, well, that's fine. I have a timeout left. I want to review it. And so they kind of paused. And I give the officials here on the ground here credit. They did a really good job because they got radioed from command center to send the teams to halftime. That wasn't the officials' fault. It was just a mistake that was made, I guess, from the command center or whatever. And so they started when I chose to challenge it. Well, then they went back and looked at it, and I don't know, like they said, they I guess found some new view or something. And I didn't think it was that hard. I mean, there's either time on the clock or not. But and so yeah, we just went through the conversation. You know, Justin came out. He was pissed, which if I were him, I would have been too. And we kind of laughed about it because he was like, well, yeah, if I was you, I'd have done the same thing. And so yeah, and then they went through it. They never started the halftime clock. So because at first I was worried, well, I'm going to spend 10 minutes out here on this review, and I'm not going to be able to go inside and even talk to the guys. And yeah, so anyways, they got to the end of it and said there was time. They didn't want to bring the teams out. And so that we just kicked the field goal, which after all that, we missed the damn thing. But yeah, that we kicked the field goal and then played the second half. So.
I mean, and I know you guys won, and the Pac-12 title hopes are still alive. Do you believe you can win the Pac-12 title with the way the defense is playing right now?
I believe this team can win this league. Hell yeah, I do. Hell yeah, I do. I know we can. We got to go do it. We got some fun, exciting challenges ahead coming up. Like we know that. But yeah, I do. We've got this team's good is definitely good enough to beat anybody. We're not getting our good consistently enough to play well enough to separate in some of these games. And we got to all band together. We got to all keep pounding the rock. We got to all keep getting better because it's there. And some of our mistakes, it kind of frustrates you slash like, not it confuses you. It just, the good is so good, and some of the stretches offensively, some of the stretches defensively are just outright dominant. And then, you know, there's one thing when, you know, listen, they you know, guy makes a really good competitive play, you know, or makes a great run, or they, you know, do something that tricks you a little bit either side. Like that happens sometimes in games both ways. Our guys, well, obviously we try to recruit guys that can do that to other people too. We're still making way too many self-inflicted errors. I mean, the couple of runs that popped in the first half are like prime examples. I mean, and Eric Gentry was phenomenal today, but I mean, like his penalty at the end. I mean, just we had some busted assignments offensively. Obviously, we had, you know, the big turnover right after the defense had gotten the turnover. I mean, we still have, there's still too many self-inflicted wounds, and you can't have that. And we gotta get better at it. You gotta keep working at it. You gotta keep teaching these guys. You gotta keep showing them, hey, when you do your job and when you do what you're coached to do, we're getting it by and large pretty damn good results. And we gotta stay true to that. And so we got some work to do here. But can we do it? Damn right we can. I'm watching the last night in the hotel. I was trying to rest a little bit. I'm watching the Diamondbacks Rangers series, and I think they showed a graphic. I think Arizona, and you quote me if I'm wrong, but it's somewhere. It's either June, July, or July, August. One of the months they won 33% of the games. One of the months I think they won I think it was 44% of their games. That was their winning percentage. They're playing for a World Series right now. Sports momentum, this high competition, man. It's a funny thing, and sometimes one little spark and you get going and you get that momentum, especially when it's so competitive and the margins are so thin, like they are in college football and like they are in this conference right now. So the good's really good. The bad has to get better. Own it. It is what it is. It has to get better, but it can get better. And if we keep fighting the way we fought today, it will get better.
Let's do one more.
And Ken, again, you know, guys found a way to win. 49 points, you know, given up tonight. You mentioned the errors in that first half. Seems like, again, you know, some of the things that we've seen consistently throughout this season defensively. If those things continue, you know, do you sense kind of a change being needed to be made in this team's defensive philosophy and staff, personnel? Any thoughts on that?
I'm gonna try to beat Washington next week. You know, those are my thoughts on it. That's my job, is to get this team ready. That's sitting 5-1 in the best conference in America, to try to go win it, and that's where my focus is. The reality is, do we need to? Are there areas where we have to be better defensively? Of course there is. All right, but the flip side of that is, you know, offensively, you can't sit there and put them in bad positions. You know, we can't give up, you know, another, couple of kickoffs where we put them in terrible field position, or some 3 and outs, or I mean, like, you know, the turnover there at the end is the perfect example. Like, defense, they do their job, they get the offense the turnover, and then one freaking play, and they're right back out there with terrible field position. That's not bad defense, that's bad offense. That's bad team football, and that's some of what we have now. Are there some things defensively that have to get better for us to do it? Yeah, there's some things offensively that have to get better. There's some things on special teams that have to get better. That's the ebbs and flows of this season. I mean, you just, you know, week to week, you never know. I mean, if I'd have told you last week that Washington's going to win a game at home and not score an offensive touchdown, you wouldn't have believed me. Everybody would have said, "Oh, shoot, they're the this and this offense in the country." Like, that's every week, man. There's a lot of parity. There's a lot of back and forth, and you got to find a way to get it done. And so, hopefully, we can keep finding a way to get it done. And with the fight we showed today, I wouldn't count us out.
Thank you, Coach Riley.
All right.
We will be back with some player representatives.